Okay, so I just bought the cheapest car on the internet that has a turbo in it. So before I start this video today, just everyone, thanks for the support on the videos. Thanks for the comments and the subscriptions. Really appreciate it. Today, something a little bit different, getting away from the four-wheel drive stuff, something I always wanted to do since I was like watching Too Fast, Too Furious when I was a kid. This is super nostalgic for me. I've bought another car. So before you see it, just know that it's very sex spec, it's very early 2000s. Someone spent a lot of money on it back in the day. The car is kind of an Evo. It's not really an Evo, but the heart of it is. So let's show you it now. Now what you're looking at is a 99 CX Lancer. It possibly, from the research I've been doing, is called a Mirage in the US, but yeah, in Australia it's called a Lancer. And obviously this thing is spec'd out. Look at the bumpers, an Evo 5 bumper. It's got a fiberglass vented bonnet. It's got some cool little wheels, and the interior is balls out 2000. Full white leather, which is absolutely filthy. So the car's in pretty bad shape. The body's in reasonably decent shape, but still the paint is like all scratched up. Looks like somebody buffed it with some sandpaper. But the beauty of this car is actually the motor. So the motor is from an Evo 5. We'll just pop this bonnet latch here. Whoop. Get this sticky thing up. So some of you might know this motor, some of you might not, but this is a 2-litre turbo motor, 4G63 from a Evo 5. It is turbo. There's a little spoolie boy down there. So the motor I think is pretty standard, apart from like there's a BOV over there. There's a boost controller, which I found out. I pulled the wire through the firewall. There's no controller in the cab. So some of the stuff's been removed from this thing. Okay, so the motor runs pretty good, but when you get on boost, it sort of has a boost cut. That's one issue. There's a big vibration in the left-hand side. That's another issue. The paint and the interior, that's another issue. So I'm just going to keep tinkering with this thing and see if we can get it up, like running good, get it boosting good, get it driving good, and yeah, and just sort of have some fun with it. So pulled it into the workshop today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to suss out what's wrong with the left side here. I've been told it was a strut, but I honestly, driving it here, I don't think it is. And the interior, I'm going to try and pull some of that out, and we're just going to give this thing a very good bath, because it's actually been sitting for 4 years, believe it or not. So obviously the normal things, once I get it all sorted, I'm going to do oil, coolant, filters, all that sort of stuff, go right through the car as much as I can, and yeah, just really have fun with it. I'm looking forward to building a car that I enjoy working on, that I enjoy driving. So yeah, I think this thing's really, really cool. All right, so the first thing I really want to do is just get it out and wash the shit out of it. So like I said, been sitting for 4 years. There's a lot of grot, a lot of bird poo, a lot of stuff in it. So we're gonna try and clean it up, get it outside, gurney it off, and yeah, do that now. Okay, so washed it off. It actually come up really good. So there's obviously all this little imperfection stuff in the paint, but I don't know if you guys can see that. The bonnet's been painted with the blue flak in it. So that's pretty cool. I thought it was just standard black, but yeah, so while that's drying, I'll tell you a little bit more about the car. I actually paid $1,700 for it, which if most of you know this motor, it's dirt cheap. So just the motor and the turbo setup's worth double that. So the first thing I think I'm going to work on is that vibration in the right hand side. I'll get the car in, jack it up, start moving some stuff around, see what I can find. I got told it was the front shock, but I don't think it is, because when you clutch in, it sort of goes away. So I think it's something in the driveline sort of area, CV or drive shaft or something like that. And being the car is a turbo, I don't really know what I'm going to find. So right, so I'll pull her in, jack it up, and we'll see if we can find this vibration. All right, so I've jacked the car up, I've crawled underneath, and the vibration that's on this side, it's coming from the axle or the CV joint, the one that goes into the gearbox. So what I'm gonna have to do is pull all this apart and get the axle out so I can measure it up to get a new one in, because I don't know what gearbox is on this. I think it's an Evo 5 gearbox, but I'd rather just pull it out, measure it, and then hopefully order one up. So I'm going to get to ripping this apart now, and hopefully it won't take me too long and nothing's bound up in there. So I got the wheel off, and this is the culprit up here. It's actually leaking a lot of grease out of the boot here, which isn't a good sign. Well, it is a good sign because it means that it's probably the issue. But when the car's sitting on the ground, there's back and forward play this way in the CV itself. So I do actually have an axle laying around that might have the same CV. So I might be able to do something with this one. If not, I'm gonna have to wait and order parts. But to get that out, I have to take this clip out, take the nut out, hit the center spline out. I'll try not to damage it because I might be reusing it, and then just pull it out of the gearbox. So hopefully it's not bound up in here and we have smooth sailing ahead of us. But so when you're hitting a bolt that's stuck, you always hit on the thing that it goes into, not the, well, I mean, I know I hit on that, but it was only lightly, but you always hit on the actual part that the bolt's going through. So I know this isn't an impact socket, but it's literally all I have in this size, so easy as that. All right, so what I want to do while I'm here is just put this nut on. I wonder if I can put it on backwards to be better. Yep, put it on backwards. Get that nice and flush. And I'm going to hit that until it breaks the threads on the inside of the spline. So the bigger the hammer, the better. I'm pretty sure that broke. So what I'm going to do is get the rest off and then try and hit it through, because there's no movement left for it to go back. Alright, so what I've had to do here is disconnect the lower control arm. This ball joint here has a bit of a prick to get out, so I didn't film it, but got the nut back on that, and as you can see, she's free as a bird. So I might be able to just move that strut around. So I'm just going to keep playing with it. I might not have to remove any of this brake stuff, which will be good, and I'll see if I can get it out. I'm going to have to get a drip tray under here because we're pulling the shaft out of the gearbox. It's going to lose all the gearbox oil, so I'm going to definitely get onto that now. Alright, so that's the shaft coming out the gearbox. So I've managed to get it out. This is what we're looking at here. So for some reason the CV's blown out. I'd say the boot failed or something, and it's got some crap in there. So I honestly thought it would be a male spline on the end, so I can't do anything with this one. I'm probably going to have to reorder another one, but yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be hard to find. I'm pretty sure that's an Evo, so this must have an Evo front end. Okay, just to give you guys a little idea as to what's happening here, this is the one I've just pulled out, and this is a brand new one. Obviously this one's a female here, so it takes a spline in the center of it, and this one here is a male, so it goes into basically that, into the gearbox. So hopefully you guys can see, but in this one that I've just pulled out, you can feel this play back and forth. You can hear that movement in there and the knocking. That's where the vibration's coming from. If we grab the brand new one here, we still get back and forward play, which I didn't know was normal, but there's absolutely no side to side play whatsoever. So back and forward's okay, but side to side's a no-no. One of the other things I kind of want to do today, I don't know how you guys feel about it, is rip this interior out. So obviously early 2000s cars, they used to do like auto salon cars and all that sort of stuff, and people used to kit out the interiors. They used to do sub boxes in the boot. They used to have lights everywhere. There's a neon light down there actually, which is really cool. I think it's awesome that people used to do that. They've even done the headliner here. So obviously these days people don't go to this extent. They don't do white leather. The stuff's actually filthy, so I don't have seats to put in it or anything like that, but I want to get the back seats out, pull the headliner off, and just sort of clean it up and get it back to a standard sort of look, which I don't know how I'm going to go with this dash because it's actually been professionally skinned, but I kind of want to do as much as I can today. I forgot to say too, the reason I'm moving on to this and not continuing to fix this is because I need to order the part. The auto parts store across the road is actually shut because it's coming up close to Christmas, so they're on holidays. So it might take a while to get that, so I'm just going to start cleaning some stuff up while I get the chance. There's a couple of boost leaks in there that I know about. They pulled out a boost gauge in here, so there's a boost leak in here. There's a couple of wires that need tidying up.
You need interior though.
Not in a race car, you don't. I don't know what the law is.
Tom, this isn't gonna be a race car.
I don't know what the law is with all this stuff. What the is this thing? It's a DVD player. Oh my god.
That's cool though.
So somebody has a 16:9 screen in here. It's all damaged. Oh my god, this is like full show car stuff. Watching movies in the back with the boys. Even though I'm ripping all this stuff out, it is just crazy how much time would have gone into making something like this. Like, you imagine trying to wrap all this, like they've laid foam on it. I don't even know if that's the standard dash. I've got no idea, but like it's all stitched. It's yeah, like there's so much work in doing all this sort of stuff. It's just crazy. Like, what is that? And it's just for looks. Like, look, it just comes straight off. Like, even just making that would be a pain. And I'm just getting rid of it. And it makes me sad, but I don't want it. Wait, Alicia.
Baby.
I'm pressing this button here. What's it doing?
Do it again.
What the hell is that? Little black button on this inside. What the hell? Go? Go? Okay, stop. It's the window. It must be it's the window washers. I was tripping out, yeah. It's to spray the water. I was thinking that was some sort of like NOS purge or something. Okay, so status report. Whoever put this stuff in did not want it to come out, so it's really glued on. Like, you can see this foam says heavily glued on. I don't know how I'm gonna get that off. I have to scrape it or something, but you know, it's not the greatest look. Let's put it that way. Look at all this glue. But we're doing what we're doing. I can always go and get a second-hand dash somewhere, or I can flock it. Flock's like a race type stuff. It sort of comes out looking like carpet, like a shiny carpet, which would be pretty cool. But glove box and some other panels are painted, so I'm gonna have to paint them. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep going with it. You can see this pinch weld here. You can buy that at a rubber shop, but I want to get that back to black too. So yeah, I'll just keep going. So it's starting to get there. I've decided I'm gonna actually pull the whole dash out, pull the door cards off, and basically the only thing that'll be in there still is basically just the seats. And I'm gonna put all this onto a snap-on tray and basically just decide whether I want to stuff around with it or just get new stuff. New stuff is in like wrecking stuff, but that's what I've taken out so far. There'll probably be, I don't know, 30 kilos worth of stuff there, if not a little bit more. So yeah, we'll just keep going and make this thing as light as possible. All right guys, so it's about an hour later. I finally got the dash out. I also wanted to figure out what was going on over here. So we've got two Greddy, that one's an oil pressure, and there's another one just up here which is a boost, and we've got some sort of alarm system. So basically I want to try and tidy as much of that up as I can. All right, and with getting the dash out, I think I'm pretty much done for the day. It took a fair while to get that out. So dash is sitting there. It's either ready to be cleaned up, or I'm gonna suss out another one to put in there and just save me time for cleaning that one up. Got to order the CV or the axle complete. Yeah, so gotta clean this mess up, start tidying some things up, and then I'm packing up for the day. So all right guys, I'm all packed up and ready to get out of here. I just wanted to say to everyone, if you think you don't know much about cars, like I think the best way to learn is honestly on a mate's car or on your own car. Like pulling stuff apart and just figuring out how something works is just so good for the brain. I think honestly the best thing you can do is just go out and buy an absolute nugget of a thing like this. And if you got the room and a little bit of money, I think it's an awesome idea, because you just learn so much. This thing is going to be so fun when it's finished. This is going to rip. Yeah, so look forward to all this sort of stuff, plus the four-wheel drive stuff. And yeah, subscribe for more. Catch you later.